In life, choices are one of the most important things that we can control. As John C. Maxwell said, life is a matter of choices, and every choice you make makes you. So, knowing just how important these choices are in our life, what can we do to try to make the best choices and, try to get the best out of each scenario? How do we truly know which decision is better than one? And how can we decide what truly needs to be done? We'll get into that and more into this video. So make sure y'all stick around. Make sure you guys like if you're new and subscribe. I really do appreciate it. And let's go ahead and jump into the first section. So this first section, I want to talk about how you can learn to accept whatever happens in life and control what you can control. And I think that the most important assets we have in our life is our time and our energy, because those are two things you can't buy, and those are two things that everyone really has, right? And I think that the best thing about those is that you choose what you do with those things, whether you're conscious of it or not. No one else can dictate how you spend those two assets other than yourself. I know it's a struggle for us to do, though. I mean, we're always out there worried about what others are going to think about us. We're always worried about what the next decision is going to lead to. We're always worried about how the next little action we make is going to change our world entirely. And don't blame yourself for that. Like, at the end of the day, our brain is hardwired for us to make choices and think about things that are going to protect us instead of make us happy. You know what I'm saying? We're built for survival. We're not built to try to feel joy. And I think that's the hardest part about being human and trying to understand life and trying to grow in life, is that you need to understand that your brain is really against you. You know what I'm saying? And you have to go against the grain. And that's why so many people talk about being uncomfortable in any situation you can in life to try to grow, to try to, show your brain like, no, it's okay. We can do this. We can grow. We can become happier. We can choose to do something to change the world instead of just being comfortable. Although our brain is hardwired for survival, we aren't hopeless. Like I just said, when you learn that the worst case scenario, even if it would happen, you can still bounce back and you can still be the person who you are and you can be a good person. You don't even worry about the worst case scenario. All you can think about is the best case. All you can think about is, oh my gosh, how is this going to change my life for the better? How is this choice going to be able to formulate something even better than what I can even think of right now? I think that our brain is so hooked to negativity that we can't even think about, or we can't even fathom what the choice we make, how much greater of an impact it can have on our lives instead of what we think the best outcome is. And to add on, a study from Cornell even stated that 85% of the things that we think about never happen. Think about that, right? Once again, you can control your energy. You're spending 85% of your brain power on things that are never going to happen. And I know that this happens to me a lot too. I always think about how people might be judging me in the gym. But at the end of the day, guys, think about it. Everyone lives in their own bubble, in their own world, in their own head, right? No one really cares. Epictetus was a very influential philosopher, and he talked about a lot about, just trying to control your peace. And one of the most famous quotes he said is, happiness and freedom begin with a clear understanding of one principle. Some things are within our control and some things are not. And I think that that's super empowering. And looking at this topic on a spiritual level, for me, I'm a Christian, and Matthew 6:34 says, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. Basically, what these are saying is that you need to control what you can. You need to focus on the now. You can't focus on the future, which is so hard for us to do, right? Like, once again, we're focused on surviving. If you can really live in the moment and you can focus on what to do right now and how to enjoy the moment, then that's really how you get peace. And that's how you find true joy and true happiness. And I have this on my wrist here. I got this bracelet. It says let them / let me, right? And so I reading this book, Let Them Theory. I just finished it by Mel Robbins. Great book. And it really talks about how people are going to do whatever. And at the end of the day, most of the time, what you think about people, what they're going to do, like if you try to post on social media, like they're not going to think anything badly of you. But like, think of it like if someone excludes you from something, you just have to let them. You know what I'm saying? And if you think that, a situation is bad and you need to get out of it, you can just say, and you don't want to force yourself to be in that situation, you can say, just let the situation be bad. But at the end of the day, let me have the power to go and change whatever I need to change to get out of this situation, and to find a better situation for myself. And I think that that's something that's super empowering, just to know that you have the control to just let people think what they want. You know what I'm saying? Let people do what they do. But at the end of the day, you can control what you want to, and you can find what that best case scenario is. And you always have the choice and the power to find happiness. I think that's great. I think that that's something that I definitely needed to work on, especially, growing up. I think that I would always think about what others thought of me instead of really truly being myself, which is something that I'm trying to fix, something that, trying to get better at each day, something that I hope I can maybe master. I don't know if I would be able to do that because I'm human, but I don't know. I think that it's definitely something to always keep in mind, and I think that it's very important to just always control what you can and just learn to accept whatever happens in this universe, and to always think highly of the choices that you make. All right, y'all, here's section 2, which is going to be about thinking about the highest of your choices, which is something that I just kind of hinted at. And I think that going back on just like in general, I think that you should always think the highest of yourself. I've said this before. I'll say it again. I'll say it multiple times. I'm going to say it until I die, to be honest with you. And I think that that also goes with your choices too, because like we said at the beginning of this video, your choices are going to determine your character. And so if you think the highest of your choices, you're going to think the highest of your character, and you're overall just going to have so much more confidence. And like it's been stated by so many people, the energy you bring out into the world is the energy you're going to receive back. So if you're positive, if you're uplifting, if you're optimistic about who you are, what you are, your choices, you're going to receive that right back. And that, I don't know, I think that's so like inspiring and awesome. But I think that at the end of the day, just recognizing too that you're not going to make the perfect choice every single time. You can make a good choice, but you're not going to make the perfect one. The thing about it, though, is that we're all human. We're all going to mess up at the end of the day. You're not the only one in the boat that's going to make the wrong decision. Looking at it from like the biggest minds mess up just as much as the everyday person. You know what I'm saying? Every person who wanted to change their life for the better has failed. They have failed more times than they have succeeded, and even when they ended up being successful, they continued to fail. Like the great Michael Jordan said, the reason he was so successful was because of how many times he failed. And I think that whenever you do choose to run towards your problems and not away from them, you can really fail a lot, and you can fail and fail and fail, but you will succeed at the end of the day. If you can keep running towards your problems, you can keep persevering, you can keep going through whatever battle you're going through, you can do it, right? And even if you're going to fail 100 times, if you know in the back of your head you're going to fail 100 times, the way to get through that is to just take it one step at a time and be like, you know what? I think this next attempt is going to be the one where I'm successful. And you can be delusional. That's how you be successful in life. If you are delusional, then you can and you will persevere through anything. A man with any why can get through almost any how. That's something that, is very powerful. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you have the why of why am I going through this every single time, knowing that it's going to take me 100 times, then you can bear to live anyhow. Like, how am I going to get through it? Well, it's because I know my purpose and I know why I want to do this, right? And here's a quote here inspired by Stoic thought. Choose purpose over pressure, choose character over comfort, choose eternal over temporary. And the great thing about choosing the hard things over comfort is that sometimes if you choose the hard things for only like 2 years of your life, think about it. If you live 80 years, you're spending 2 years going through the hard things. So that's what, a 40th of your life? 2 years is a lot of time. You know what I'm saying? 2 years can change your life. And if you can do it in 2 years, and then after that, you can chill out with, your passive income, if you're looking at financially, or with your dream body, if you're looking at physically, or even spiritually, like with that deeper connection you have with, for me, it would be like with God, but for you guys, it might be with something else. Like, you'd be at so much more peace for the next however many years you got left on this planet. You know what I'm saying? And that's only 2 years of your life. And in Matthew 7:13 through 14 here, you always want to enter through the narrow gate. You always want to go through the hard things, because whenever you go through those hard things, like we said before, you might fail, but you also might succeed. And like, knowing that you might succeed, don't you want to just push through those failures? Don't you just want to have that epic heroic story that we see in like Infinity War and Endgame, you know what I'm saying, where the heroes lose, but then they come back and they choose to sacrifice everything. Literally, think about it. Iron Man had a family, you know what I'm saying, and he didn't want to lose that, but he chose to sacrifice himself to go out there and to try to finish what they started, to try to beat Thanos. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, they do. Sorry if I spoiled the movie for y'all, but you can choose the hard thing and you can do it. Expect the best from the decision, go in there without having any regrets, and that's how you get the most out of life. You know what I'm saying? Just always choose the hard path. Always choose to try to get more out of yourself. Always understand that you have God with you. You have your family with you. You know, you have friends with you. You have people in your corner. It's not you by yourself. And if you don't have that, and then you have me. You know what I'm saying? You want to go in the comment section, you want to talk to me about whatever, I'll respond to y'all. You know what I mean? And I can help y'all push through. And sometimes I need that from other people too. I need that all the time from other people. You know what I mean? Like, and the best thing is you can reach out and ask for help, and people are gonna help you. People want to help you. It's in our nature. So don't be afraid to do that. I don't know, y'all. At the end of the day, I think knowing that the power of choice is very monumentous in your life, I think that that's something to never forget. Always know that you have the power to choose how your life is going to go, how you're going to spend your time and energy. And yeah, I think that that's something that, we can never ever truly understand, but we can always chase for. And I'll leave y'all with that. So thank you guys so much for making it through the entire video. If you did, truly do appreciate it. Just want to thank God again for giving me these words of wisdom to try to help y'all out. And even making these videos helps me out. So I really do appreciate him for helping me out with that. I'll see you guys in the next video though.